Hello everybody, welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter 331 review. This chapter is titled United States of America. Now, last chapter was the first real chapter of Star and Stripe and Tomer Shigaraki All for One, their combination, which I will be calling Tomer Shigaraki. So, it was their whole beginning fight phase, and last time, Star and Stripe was just beating up on Tomer Shigaraki after her failed quirk of New Order did not use the right way whenever she called for Tomer Shigaraki. It's hard to stop if he moved. And she thinks, did his hair just grow? What's going on with this guy? As Shigaraki just goes and jumps onto one of the fighter planes, and he says, now I get how New Order works. It may be supreme, but it's still constrained by rules of its own. USA's #1 hero, Star and Stripe, the government strictly oversees her quirk. The particulars of how it works are highly classified, though the public gets the basic gist, based on her visible heroics. She touches a target, says its name, and assigns her rule of choice. A jaw-dropping, unreasonable power that makes the world around her plaything, and one that particularly refines what a quirk can be. But I've learned quite a bit from our battles so far. As far as powering up a living physical body goes, there's a hard limit. Otherwise, she would have tried to kill me right from the start for crushing my head with pure power. On the other hand, there's not much of a limit to a rule she can use to incapacitate someone. One could think of it as a barometer with an upper cap. A gauge she can set at will, I suppose. However, judging from the fact that she didn't say if he touches the elephant is set range, she dies, one assumes that the new rule can't arbitrarily involve things she hasn't touched, just without roundabout warning. Or perhaps she could make such a rule, but it would be less effective. Still, look at the earlier lasers in the vacuum. She boasts an impressive degree of freedom when it comes to non-living things. Apparently, therein lies New Order's true utility. The difference in the efficiency between rules for living and non-living things must have to do with the process of the naming target. Her new rule for me didn't take hold because her understanding doesn't quite mesh with reality. When Mrs. Starr touched me, she believed me to be Tomer Shigaraki. But even my understanding myself is hazy. Am I Shigaraki? Or All for One? Or Shimura, even? When calling the name of a target with a sense of self, Miss Starr's understanding of the target identity must align with its own. For targets without a sense of self, her one-sided understanding is enough to enforce the new rule. Only two targets at once, I suppose. And what's her effective range? Could it work on me if she called my dog Mon by his name Mon? What's gotten into me all of a sudden? This irresistible urge to test out her rules. I've never been so on edge. And while Tomer's been speaking all of this for literally 3 pages, we see that Star thinks he must have a way to get around that hampering attack of his. And she hops back on one of her fighter planes, and we see that they say, what now, Star? New Order and concentrated laser fire just been about nothing to the regenerating scumbag. And she says, send word to Commander Apgar. And the dude says, for real? Bad enough we have to ran off half-cocked with their say-so. You're not really going to do what we ought to be thinking. And she says, if not now, then when should I exercise my special authority? This punk's graduated from being Japan's local menace. Now he's a threat to the world. We gotta use tactics that Japan lacks to make him dead now. And she then looks at him and says, just try to give me a place to plant my feet until arrival. Okay, bros? They look and say, oh, hell. And they think, back to whenever Star said, sorry today, you boys are under my wing. When we die together, brothers. And one of the pilots says, our #1 sure does ask the world of us. Hey, Wedge, shake that raggedy lowlife off your talk side. And he says, that's Star's perch. And dude says, copy that. And Shigaraki goes, close one, as he lands back on his Nomu. And then Star says, I told you that knowing what I'm about to do wouldn't help you fight back against this, is what I meant. And then she says, the air forms into my shape, but 1,000 times bigger, as we see a big air giant in the back with Star and Stripes form. And she titles the move, Fist Bump to the Earth. As Shigaraki thinks, nothing's visible there, but I got a nasty feeling. As Star goes and punches, as the giant air golem punches Shigaraki into Nomu. And Star thinks, taking away any more damage is pointless, and you never answer if I ask for his real name. So the only way to get rid of this guy is busting him down to atoms, as she claps and sends a straight forward of air through, almost hitting him in the middle. And she says, but you're a tough nut to crack. Bros, give me a taste of those lasers. And we see her make a new rule. The lasers combine into one, as she grabs all of the lasers in her hands, or into Air Golem's hands, and she goes, and she plunges them into Shigaraki, yelling the word, Cranios. And she does it. All of the water surges around her, as she then thinks, a non-stop blast of Max Laser will burn away to nothing, yeah? I doubt it. He's just keeping him down. And she says, even if this were enough, Endeavor could have finished the job. And then we hear something. And a man says Star. And she says, Apgar, sir. And we cut to a room with a guy that looks like Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. And that's really the whole point of him. And he says, I'm so accustomed to your independent ways that I got careless. This stunt will lose you more than just your license. And Star says, fine by me. Well, are things ready on your end yet? And Apgar says, sure, special favor, just this once. And Japan's been informed that the strike is imminent. And Star says, that's what I wanted to hear. And Apgar says, the fact is, your flagrant defiance of the rules really has made our nation shine all the brighter. All Might himself can put a proper end to this film. Prepare to surpass him, Clarice. Your name is Tiamat. Make sure every last one hits their mark. As we see the state-of-the-art hypersonic intercontinental cruise missiles, Tiamat, heading to their goal. Now, that's the end of the chapter, and before I get on my thoughts, I just have to point out that Apgar is literal Admiral Apgar from Star Wars, and all of the words that begin with a sentence spell out what Admiral Akbar says in the show or in the movies. It's a trap, because it starts out with, I'm, and then this. So it literally just spells out, it's, and then she says, yeah, sure, and A, and the fact, really, and it's a trap. It's pretty funny just to know what it's saying. So it's just a whole thing of ITS, it's a trap. It's just a funny thing. But yes, this is a very interesting chapter with Star. But first off, the whole breakdown of Shigaraki breaking down her quirk, sort of to show off, oh, this is all it can do. It's really interesting. And then with Star's whole, oh, okay, let's make a giant air golem to try to kill him. And then intercontinental missiles being fired. It's just an interesting chapter altogether, and I don't really have much else to say on this one. It's the whole 2 chapters of this fight with Star and Stripe so far have been really, okay, here this is happening, alright, here you are, and that's it. And that's all I've got to say. So, thank you for watching, and this is Glowplasma231